Yep, cool. Okay, welcome back to the Grants Allocation Committee for Community Grants. And welcome to Janice Hill and Bruce Henderson from the Kapiti Coast Trails Trust. We have 3 minutes of speaking time and a couple of minutes for questions.
Kia ora koutou. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to speak to you to our application today. Kapiti is often described as a string of pearls, where the villages and attractions are the pearls. We are providing the string, the trails to connect them in a sustainable, low-carbon way. The Vision Kapiti 2060 information shows that the community highly values the walking and cycling trails and the connection to nature that they provide as elements of the Kapiti lifestyle. The strategy of the Kapiti Coast Trails Trust is to grow that. And as Kapiti's population grows and intensifies and consequently open space is lost, additional recreation trails and the ability to connect to nature will become increasingly important. The Kapiti Coast Trails Trust is newly constituted late last year and is currently awaiting registration as a charity, which we believe is imminent. Our application here today is for a contribution towards the building of a website for the Kapiti Coast Trails Trust. We need a website in order to help us connect with our community, to make public our vision for trail development projects, to make it easy for our community to connect with us, to help us promote the existing and growing trails network. This isn't just about new development. To provide the trust with credibility to seek larger funds for trail building projects, for example, lotteries funds and regional funds for the trail development, to provide publicly plans and updates on our projects, and to provide a means for the trust to become self-sustaining financially into the future. So to do that, we have two means on the website. One is for the ability for public to contribute via trail passes, memberships and donations, and that will help the trust become self-sustaining, and also to help us promote local businesses. So we know that the trails will be fantastic for residents, but they will also be a tourism attraction. And local businesses contribute to that. It's not just about the trails, it's where they lead you and the things that you can engage with. So local businesses off-trail attractions, we will be looking through a partnership approach with the goal to help fund the maintenance of trails into the future. And the website is integral to us delivering all of that. Thank you.
I have a question. So what's the timeline around the website? Do you know?
So this will be a contribution. We need around $7,000. We're asking for $2,000 today. We hope to be successful with another application for the balance. If we are successful with that, we should have the website up and running within around 3 to 4 months.
Okay. Councillor Warwick.
Hi. Are the EDKB helping with any of this?
Not financially.
Financially, no?
Not financially. Not at this stage.
Yeah. We do have a meeting scheduled with them in early June from memory. I know that hasn't been finalised yet. So they're showing great interest, but we haven't actually formalised that yet. We're working on it.
Okay. That's right up their alley of what they're trying to promote with business-wise, so it would be good if they would support you.
At this stage, they've indicated no financial support.
Yes, I would urge them to rethink that. Anybody else? No, again, thank you for coming in. I have to say, as I've said to everybody else, we are really oversubscribed. So we've got far more people wanting funds than the funds are available. So that will all get factored in. No, there don't appear, there's no other questions or comments, but so thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you.
How's that for timekeeping? Okay, so we're well ahead of schedule. So, Ms. Scullen, if you would like to come forward. And are you doing this via interpretive dance or? Oh, do you want me to? Yes, if you could. Either one.
Probably don't need a microphone. You do it just so the live streaming. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Push the button.
We have an audience of millions.
Of millions. That button there.
Yes, Catherine, welcome. Just in terms of time constraints, coming from me, I know that's rich, but yes. So we'll spend the next 5 minutes finding out what you want and why you want it, and we'll have some questions in there.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much. Hello. Nice to meet you all that I haven't met before. So I am from Coast Access Radio up in Waikanae, Mahara Place. And at this station there, we believe we're building and supporting resilient, sustainable communities. And we do this by creating a platform where every voice matters. And we invite people from all walks of life to share their stories, culture, perspectives. And through this inclusive approach, we don't just broadcast content, we build confidence, communication skills, and a real sense of belonging within the community. And with that, recently we've expanded our efforts to include a youth training program. Actually, to be blatantly clear, it was actually a bit of an accident. They came to us, some of youth, and we discovered talking to them that many of them were feeling quite lost and disconnected when we spoke to them about why they wanted to come in and work with people such as myself. So we invited them to come and have a bit of a play at the station and see if they liked it and whether they could hang out with us old fogies. And they loved it. And we've taught them how to use the equipment. It's given them a purpose, and it's taught them some skills that they never thought they would be able to get or afford, because they're not easy skills to get, and something also positive to look forward to. So as an example, one of them that comes in would sleep until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. He had nothing to get up for, unless he was going to get up and play on his games. Now he's coming in and recording people like Janet, like our mayor, loving it, learning things from our elders. So the response has been quite incredible. The issue that we do have is some of our equipment is quite old. So while I'm training them, I've got no other way of doing my other role as program manager and station manager of Coast Access Radio. So to be able to help us do that, we're just looking for another computer basically to help train these youth on, just to keep that momentum going, because as one's come in, it's brought in another one and another one. Had a meeting even last night with a 16-year-old who wants to come in and do a show with us, which is mind-blowing really. But so with the new equipment, we'll be able to provide a bit more dedicated training time and actually have some of the youth train the youth at the same time, which is what's happening, which is fabulous. So it's really great, valuable work experience that they don't have to pay for. We get the youth coming in, it breathes a little bit of life into the station, and it gets them out of bed and not sitting in the garage playing on games. So what has been happening, it's been inspiring their confidence, it's giving them a sense of responsibility. I mean, you have to behave yourself when you're interviewing the mayor or recording the mayor or other guests as well. So it's not just about those technical skills, it's about a lot of things that we didn't realise we were teaching them until we sort of started. And we're reconnecting them in with the community, and they're proud of what they do. And they, even put the radio station on now and listen, which is very cool. And say, we did that, or we did that, or how can I do this? Can I do this? So I've also had feedback from one of their mothers that they had, and this one gets me a bit emotional, is that they hadn't seen their son smile for a couple of years. And so he came home from, doing this sort of work, and he's coming home and he's smiling, and they're like, what's happened? What have you done to our kid? I'm like, I just let him play, just let him learn some skills. So, the smiles on their faces, the shifts in their outlook, and it's proof that the program, albeit by a little bit of an accident, it's working, and I'm hoping with your support we'll be able to keep that going.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Well, I'll fire in a comment. I think it's fantastic initiative. It's brilliant. Just wondered, is the New Zealand Radio School, or so would this, having some experience, would that assist them if they wanted to go on?
Yeah, we've actually just lost one of our youth to the New Zealand Radio School. Thanks very much.
It's wonderful.
No, no, Todd's still working at RNZ. Yeah, cheeky. So yes, but he still comes in and makes a show. So we don't really tend to lose broadcasters so much. But one that's just gone to radio school, he came and he didn't, and I'm not going to name him because he had no confidence, and he may be on the spectrum a little bit as well, a little bit. And he came in and we taught him how to use the equipment, and he said, "Are you okay for me to make this particular show?" And I said, "Yep, let's have a listen," and it was great. And he kept going, and then he had the confidence to go to Auckland and go through and ask for a private appointment to have a look at the studios, and they loved him so much he's now gone up there and he's just started. So he lost one, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But you gain that,
But
you know,
that's
that kind
great,
of
isn't it?
pride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely.
Wonderful.
Just one
Shelley.
question. Have you asked any of the community boards? for
Not
event?
yet. No.
Okay.
No, I haven't. This is fairly new. I've asked the community board for the Waikanae community board for funding, but that was for more community notices and getting community involved, but not for this particular program.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a very good idea.
Because you're based in Waikanae,
Yes.
but you're the coast, so you could go to the other community boards as well.
Yeah,
All
so
of
we
them at matter of fact.
yeah, from all the way down to Pukerua Bay up to Foxton actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could.
Yeah. It's a good
Great.
idea,
Thank you very much, Catherine. I will have to say, because I've said to everybody, we are oversubscribed.
Yes.
So we'll have to do our negotiations on that. But thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It sounds like a wonderful scheme.
Yes, and I think you come into the station a bit.
I do every now and again, yes. Because Nigel was the traffic controller down at Christchurch in the early days, in the 70s.
Was he?
Yeah, that's why I acknowledged him. He was telling me Hercules where to park and things like that.
Are you with the airport?
Oh, vaguely, yes.
Otaki International.
Okay.
Thank you very much for those insights, Rob. That will be really helpful in deliberation time.
I think I've spoken to you about this.
Yes.
Makes some sense. Thanks, Gabrielle.
Cheers. Thank you. Sir Optimist. Thank you, Catherine. Cheers. Janet, welcome.
That was really interesting listening to
Yes.
that application. There's some wonderful work going on across the coast. There really is. So yes, I am a representative of Sir Optimist Kapiti, and I'm also a representative on the Cavity Health Advisory Group with a focus on children and young people. So I found about midway through last year that my work was actually coming together across the two areas. So Sir Optimists actually started off by a concern being raised about children at school without lunches, and also children not having breakfast, and there's all sorts of reasons why they might not, all sorts of reasons why they might not have lunches, you know. So we've been doing some homework, trying to find out all the background information and get some kind of direction on how to approach kids having food at school. So, I have done a lot of networking across community groups and services. The survey that I undertook at the beginning of last year indicated a very common theme across all the organisations who responded. It sounds a lot, I'll be honest. I surveyed 25 services working with families and children. I had a 50% response, so that's okay. Yeah. But the common thread was that there were concerns about children and their nutrition and access to food. So I decided I needed to know more about where food could be made available from for families. So that meant a lot of networking with food banks and St Vincent de Paul, Capita Impact Hub, lots of different places. And there was an identified need by the Kapiti Food Bank that they would like some recipes. Families were turning down food like tinned lentils, chickpeas, tomatoes, and so forth. And also even fish, because of course the Kapiti Food Bank's fortunate that they have access to packs of fish. And because they didn't know how to cook. And that's what I've found with all my conversations across the district, is that there are families who don't seem to know how to prepare food from actual ingredients. If it's not pre-packaged or frozen or something, then they don't know what to do with it. So the recipes I have managed to put together so far, and we did get funding from the Paikokariki Community Board, and that was really luck of timing. They, just sheer luck that they were going to have a meeting. I could get a grant application in. But the recipes, I was given license to use recipes from a publication called The Great Little Cookbook that came from MSD in 2006. And it was produced to help families on the West Coast and in the Nelson area how to use food from food bank parcels. So it kind of all came together quite nicely. So we have permission to use those. So we know that the recipes are nutritionally sound. They're actually budget friendly, which is really important. And they're actually really easy to use. So common language, just ordinary language, nothing fancy. No sautéing, no basting, just ordinary instructions on how to prepare these meals. And so from that, we were able to do an initial production of 12 different recipe cards, and I've brought a set here. I get accused of hanging on to them like hen's teeth because they are, if I'm using them, I'm not getting them out to families. Yeah. So this really is the wins that we've had with this so far. Is that I've been able to get the recipe cards into the food bank. The 2 raw fish recipe cards were put into the packs that were used for the Waikanai Boating Club Youth and Community Fishing Day. So they went into there to help with the fish that was caught on the day. Linked 2 schools to an organisation who's now supplying them with more lunch ingredients, ham and cheese and bread rolls to make kids' lunches. And also reminded schools about the Kickstart program that's available from Sanitarium and Fonterra joint project, where they provide Weet-Bix and long life milk. So it's just trying to get food into the schools. And these recipe cards that we're actually looking at now is extending the range that we have available. So there's another 20 recipes that we'd like to produce. Actually get them back out to the food bank again. St Vincent de Paul, possibly the Kapiti Impact Hub, as they've indicated they're interested. So to get them once again to help families use the food that is available. Yeah.
Great.
We've got kibosh on. Sorry, I've probably gone over my 3
No,
minutes.
actually, actually kibosh are next.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've obviously met with kibosh, and there's the opportunity to do cooking classes. That Raumati Technology Centre available for use of their kitchen. So there's lots of opportunities, and these recipe cards are kind of like a springboard really to be able to open up all of these different opportunities. We do need to put some special time and focus into Paikokariki, more than what I have done already, and the cards will be a way of doing that. We do want to get them onto a website, so it's getting them prepared and made, deciding which website that they will go onto, or websites. And there's just lots of potential. There's a lot of potential, and sadly, a lot of need. I've been here for 22 years, and I have never realised what the need is. Yeah.
Yep. And it's
So-
growing. I just want, does anybody have any questions or?
No, just to say you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
You're doing an amazing job. Thank you for all your work.
Coming together. I'm happy to leave this pack. You might want to take control if you're interested. You have just to have a wee look. All right. Well,
Thank you very much, Janet. Again, I feel obligated to just to let you know that we are heavily oversubscribed, just as is the rest of the community. But yeah, thank you. It's brilliant work. Just sorry, I should have asked this earlier. The Women's Refuge. Do you work with Women's Refuge at all?
Not as yet, because really, no, not as yet.
Okay,
Yeah, we're connected in through the community network meetings that happen. But you know, there's so many avenues that we can follow. It's really hard. I mean, I know the advisory group wants to venture into some work on vaping, and we want to work on dental care because there are children with terrible dental needs.
Yeah.
So it's how far we can stretch ourselves. Yeah.
I can see the synergies between what you're doing with KHAG and this
The
other work as well.
seroptimists,
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Next up, we have Kai Bosch, who I'm not sure if they are here.
Interestingly, have we seen anything with the Trump Trust that that's the thing?
Staggered. Under vision. So, Kelty, you have 3 minutes to let us know
Okay.
what you would like and why you would like it, and then we may have some questions.
Okay, amazing.
Cool.
So with our funding that we received from you beautiful people last year, my name is Kelty. I'm from Kibosh. So we're just down on Sheffield Street. We are a food rescue, and we are branching out and working with local growers and producers. So we're capturing much more than we used to. So on average, we're capturing an extra 10 ton of fresh produce a month, which is really pressing us in our space, but also challenging us in other ways about how to get this food out into the community in a useful way. So last year, with the $2,000 that we received, we were able to collaborate with our charity partners and run some beautiful cooking programs, which turned into fantastic sharing of knowledge and information and tips and tricks with not only the staff that run the charities, but also with their clients. And so off the back of that, We've got our kitchen fully functioning now on our premises, and we're able to offer, rather than last year when I was here, we were offering kind of like little veggie boosters to the community, but now we've evolved into fully formed heat and eat meals, which for charities like Cancer Society or the Food Bank or any number of whānau Wellbeing, Waikanai Food Share, they've been this amazing bonus to be able to offer the community, especially for people who are living in emergency housing or living in their car perhaps, to be able to have a fully formed meal that is accessible and easy to heat. So the funding that we've proposed for you for this year is going to be to grow that program. So we want to do big batch cooking. We've been collaborating with Whakarongotai and Raukawa in Otaki and Waikanai. And their facilities are incredible. You know, imagine big pots and spoons that seem like canoe paddles. And we've been able to do huge batches, which stocks their freezer and ours to be able to offer that resource to the community. And we've also incorporated our second harvest abundance in our program. So some things that I brought today. The community has been fantastic. They've been bringing in all their old yogurt pots and stuff. So that's been great. So this is how we give out the soups and stews and pasta sauces. And then our fruit crumbles, and we've been doing some vegetarian shepherd's pie and things like that. So they go out in this packaging. This packaging is very expensive. It's about 45 cents per unit. So that part of the funding that we're going for will keep us in these fantastic resources. Yeah. How was that, 3 minutes?
That was superb. That was superb. Just a question. So is there recipients, is there any suggestion of a koha or...
For the prepared meals?
Yeah. Are people able to contribute, or is that
no?
not
Well,
part
what
of
we've just been doing it in collaboration with. So, if I do a big batch cook, those on average were costing about $50, because we're using mostly rescued food, and then to top it up. So, relatively, the thing that costs is time, my time, and our charity collaborators' time. Yeah, and these little things, they cost, but yeah. So no, we haven't asked for a koha from our charity partners because, which I'm sure you're hearing here today, everybody is completely stretched and growing their capacity to serve the community.
Yeah. I think you're doing fantastic work. Shelley?
I'm just wondering if people are repurposing the containers, bringing them back to you.
Yes, we do have a few charity partners who wash these and bring them back to us. That would be like Ngāti Awa community. So if they are not giving them out in food parcels, then we seem to get them returned to us, and then we can they can have another round and be refilled and go again. The lids don't seem to make it another go, but these, if they're careful with them. Yeah. But yeah, if they're going out into food hampers, they don't generally come back.
Yeah, it'd be good if they did.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. It would be
and
great.
And the yogurt containers and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's just people collecting them and giving them back to you?
Yeah, and we've had amazing response from our communities at the aged care facilities and all over Kapiti. So we'll have maybe one or two people that are the collection point. They have in their unit the collection point for yogurt pots and egg cartons and things like that. And so once a month they'll bring us a big load of them. And then we've got a sterilizer just waiting to get installed. So, but otherwise we're just running them through the dishwasher to sterilize them all.
Because I wasn't aware that you needed them, so I'm wondering how the community becomes aware, because my son eats that yogurt all the time. I could be collecting them.
Fantastic.
And is there any way of putting up a poster or some kind of information at the recycling hub?
Yes,
Because
that's a good idea.
They might promote that for you.
Yeah.
That if you put a bin there.
Yeah, that's a great
with
idea.
things that you actually want, and even those little tin containers.
Yeah.
Because They're terrible
of
in
takes
our
away.
landfill, and
Yes.
lots of people, if they knew who could use them,
Yeah.
might
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
them back. So
Yeah.
maybe collaborating with the
Yeah. With
recycling
this
hub,
recycle shop. Yeah.
or even the rubbish you know, our
Recycling
dumps.
collection.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because at the moment we've been posting on, Facebook community groups. Yeah.
and
that's
even in our council communications.
Yep.
You
It could
have
go out
if
maybe
you could
with
have
the
a little blurb that went out in that, once a month, and that
in the newsletter.
all of that is so cool to recycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just the food; it's about the
Yes, the
recycling
packaging.
all the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
I would be interested in what you recycle if you can send it to us.
Fantastic.
Like what you use, what
Yeah.
you need to,
Yeah, I mean these are perfect because that's can be a couple of meals, or it can
Yeah.
be added to for a family. So that's a great size. But yeah, the community has responded really well, and we haven't had to buy any of these pots at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's been really helpful. But thank you.
Are
I
you
will
able to get us that information? That would be
absolutely,
great. Yeah.
absolutely.
Just
Yeah.
some photos of what you need. What
Perfect.
You use.
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Kilda, and thank you for the work that you do.
It's a pleasure.
Unfortunately, I have to say this, we are oversubscribed in
Yes.
terms of the
Yeah.
funds that are available, so just have to let everybody know that. But yeah, the work you guys are doing is just absolutely superb.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Cheers.
Okay.
Oh, so it's 11 o'clock in this collective. Are they ready now? Yes. We'll take them in any time they're ready.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelty. Cheers. And next we are going to have the Nest Collective, and Natalia. Natalia, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good. So Natalia, you're from the Nest Collective.
That's correct, yes.
So you have 3 minutes.
Okay,
and
great.
we may have some questions afterwards.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
think we're all yes, we're all seeing you now.
Okay, all right. Well, morena, ko Natalia toko ingoa. I'm the National Manager for the Nest Collective. I'm here today to speak on behalf of our Kapiti branch. Firstly, we want to thank you for your support over the last few years. We are incredibly grateful for you as our funders, and so proud of the packs we can provide families thanks to your support. The Kapiti team is a wonderful group led by Angela and Sue. We are very lucky to have them and their volunteers and the lovely community space we have in the Kapiti Impact Hub. The team can store all of the items there and hold morning teas to bring together our volunteers, crafters and community partners. The Nest Collective works alongside social workers and community partners to provide free baby essentials for families in need. Our packs include essential items for the first year of life, such as clothing, bedding, books, safety items and more. 1 in 7 children, which has changed from 1 in 10 when we started very depressingly, lives in households with material hardship, meaning many families face impossible decisions like choosing between a power bill and warm clothing for their families. So our packs are designed to reduce inequity, improve babies' living standards, reduce families' financial burden, and allow whānau to focus on other aspects once the essentials are provided. The evidence is very clear that what happens in the first years of life impacts children's lifelong trajectories, and early investment in children pays off in the long term for families and society. We exist to intervene early so that every baby can thrive. In 2024, the Kapiti branch completed 112 packs, which was up 65% from 2023. And notably, 60% of these packs were provided to Māori and Pacific peoples, reflecting our commitment to reducing inequality by supporting communities disproportionately affected by material hardship. Additionally, 48% of our packs go to solo parents and 25% to parents aged 25 and under. We have over 20 community partners throughout Kapiti Coast and Horowhenua, including Plunkett, Oranga Tamariki, iwi health providers and family star organisations. The Kapiti branch also amazingly continues to support organisations in the Waikato since we had to close the branch during COVID. And is a big part of why we can still say we meet 100% of pack requests. The Nest packs are 90% donated secondhand clothing and crafted items representing our sustainability and manaakitanga values. The Nest Makers group is one of the most beautiful parts of our puzzle, as over 1,000 crafters from around the country contribute to our packs. The items are knitted, crocheted, and sewn, and are full of aroha for the babies that receive them. Collaboration is another big value of ours. Our work with our community partners, sponsors, donors, and funders is key to our success. And we have loved touching base recently with other groups in the area in this space and spending time working together, sharing items, ideas, and support. This year we've been finalising a project on our impact, which is very exciting, and we'll share with you this report once it's ready. But some of the statistics we have are 100% of surveyed whānau agreed or strongly agreed that receiving a Pepi pack made them feel supported to care for their baby. 9 in 10 surveyed whānau reported that receiving a pack created opportunities to learn about additional support and services, which is very important to us. And 98% of surveyed community partners stated that Pepi packs significantly positively impact the lives of babies and their whānau. These results in the fact that in our 5th year we can still say we have met 100% of pack requests despite increasingly difficult times makes me very proud of our team across Aotearoa. We are here today asking for a grant to fund our pack items. 10% of our packs are purchased. Merino sleeping bags, health and safety items such as thermometers and outlet plugs, feeding items, nappies, wipes. All these equate to approximately $150 per pack. The total cost of the Kapiti branch for a year is a little over $35,000. As you will know, funding is a challenge at the moment, and our national team worked very hard to apply for grants to cover these costs. And our local team has also been working hard to hold fundraisers. Last year, they held a really successful Bowls Day in collaboration with the Lions Club to raise funds and spread the word. We hope we'll be able to raise these funds with your support and other grants funders to meet the needs of our community. And that's it from me today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Natalia. Do we have any questions? No, we don't appear to. Just want to say, on behalf of all those Kapiti babies that benefit from your work, thank you very much. That's wonderful work you do.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for your support.
Yeah. And I do just have to mention, because we've done it to everybody else, we are significantly oversubscribed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
so
understand. Yeah.
just to let everybody know.
Yes. It's the way with everyone at the moment, but thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for your work.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Joshua and Shane. Yeah, that's Joshua, I'm Shane. Kia ora tātou, ko Graham of Monteith toko whānau, ko toko hapu, ko Hasty toko whānau, ko Holland toko whānau, ko Shane tēnei. Welcome, folks. Thank you. We're here to talk about Te Awhai Rito. We are a program, a registered charity, charitable trust based in Otaki. We serve young children. We have 3 programs. On a Tuesday and a Thursday afternoon, we do an after-school program that on a Tuesday is focused on the physical health and well-being of these kids. We look at the kids who sit in the middle, the 5 to probably 11, 12-year-olds. We saw the trust was founded because we saw too many of these kids as latchkey kids. Walking the streets, getting into trouble. And while there are lots of teenage programs, and there's quite a lot of young kids, young children programs, there's not a lot for these kids in the middle. And that's where we saw the need. We offer as I say, on a Tuesday, the program is health and well-being through sports predominantly. So one of our trustees is the owner of the local gym, and he's designed the program for that. Afterwards, we have volunteers who cook food. It was great to see the Kibosh folks here because they give us a fair chunk of that food, and we appreciate that. And so for some of these kids, that Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, that's the only hot meal they get in a week, where they sit down and we bring the community, the family feel to it, because we sit down around a table and just sharing. Thursday afternoon, same sort of thing. That is aimed, the focus on Thursday is more, a little bit more educational, but it's arts and crafts and so forth. But again, giving these kids the safe space and the experience. And then on a Wednesday morning, we have a program for under fives and their caregivers. And that's just a, what do we call it? What do we call it? I don't know. We get about 30 to 40 preschoolers and their carers together. So that's what we do. Our ask is funding to help us continue to do it. We employ paid youth workers on a short, 4 to 8 hours a week, but we want these folks. Most of our employees are students at the whānanga, and they're doing this somewhat to put back, but also it's helping them to earn a living, and to just create this space. As the previous person mentioned, the reality is, if you can intervene in a young child, you change their life outcomes. And that's what we want to do, is if we don't, those are the kids that go on to become gang members. Those are the kids that go on to become prison fodder later. We believe we can shift that.
Thank you, Shane and Joshua. Shane, just a question from me. The cohort that you're primarily dealing with. So what happens when they get into the teenage? Is there a jumping off point?
There is a jumping off point, and there are multiple programs in Otaki focused on those kids, on the teenage kids. So we saw the gap. And we do work, Katie, who's not here, works very closely with there's a particular teenage group in Otaki where we point our kids towards as they don't quite graduate but grow out of it.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, Councillor Cofer.
Oh, thanks, Shane, Josh. No, you're certainly the glue helping keeping the community together. Thank you very much for your input. Hey, how many young folk do you deal with from 5 to 12?
Most weeks, well, school holidays, it sometimes goes down to 3, but most of the weeks up to about 20. 20 to 25.
Yeah. And the facility that you use?
We use the Hadfield Hall at All Saints Church.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, thanks for that. No, you're doing a wonderful job.
Great. Again, I'll reiterate that. Thank you very much on behalf of the community for the work that you're doing. And I will just say we are very much oversubscribed, as it's the mantra now. But we'll get back to you in due course. And thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Just Chris. Yep. Okay. Chris.
Morning.
Home for All. Good morning. Welcome.
Kia ora tātou. Yes, I'm Chris Knoll. I'm the chairman of the Home for All Charitable Trust, which lives around Raumati Road. I'm here today to ask for assistance with an oven for our establishment. But let me tell you a little bit first about dementia and then a little bit about Home for All. So dementia in New Zealand is on the increase significantly. Health authorities established at the moment there's around about 70,000 New Zealanders with either dementia or early onset dementia. It's expected to double within 15 years. So it's a significant health issue going forward. It affects women more than men, and it is a debilitating illness for which there is no current cure at all. It just gets steadily worse. Home for All offers a daycare facility where we have people come in on 3 days a week currently, up to 10 or 12 people on a Wednesday, Thursday or Friday, and they are involved in activities that we offer on a day-to-day basis that are organised by our staff. Home for All is a model that is well established in both Canada and the Netherlands, Holland. It is what's known as a green care farm. Green care farms offer a rural environment where people get involved in activities within the environment or within the household. So we have goats, we have other animals that are involved with care. We have a large greenhouse, we have a large garden, we have a large workshop where the men and women are involved in making things, mostly out of old pallets that we sell at markets. And what we've found is that, and what the research has clearly shown, is that when people with early onset dementia are involved in activities such as these, their dementia is, the effects of their dementia is reduced. So the best way to explain that is that what we try to do is ensure that people come and at the end of the day they go knowing that they have achieved something, that they've done something, and they feel happy with what they've done. Often they won't be able to tell you what they've done, but they go home knowing that they've had a good day, and that is a significant thing. Our funding is pretty much user pays. We have the ability with some people, not all of them, who have caregivers to access social welfare funding from MSD for 1 day a week. So pretty much that makes it quite expensive for people to come. We charge people $150 per person to come per day. So it's a pretty bare bones organisation. Currently, we're looking for a new oven, and that's why I'm presenting to you today for a new oven. Our current oven, the door fell off a wee while ago, and I'm sorry to say on occasion I've gone in there and seen the door held on with a broom handle. I think we've had some repairs done to try and make it work, but it's really past its use-by date. So I'm here to ask for your assistance for a new oven if possible. I think I'll stop there and I see if you've got any questions.
Thank you, Chris. So do we have questions? Shelley?
No, I just wanted to say the respite that you offer families must be incredibly important to them, because it's pretty difficult dealing with dementia.
Absolutely,
in the loved
it's
one.
an incredibly difficult thing. I think one of the greatest issues we have with our volunteers, and we only have 2.5 full, paid staff, but we have 15 volunteers who come in on a regular basis to help us. Then that includes everything from taking people on a specially imported bike, which allows us to take 3 pedalers and 1 driver on activities. But the really debilitating thing about working with people with dementia is that they're not going to get better, and that really is very hard for our people, because as healthcare workers, your expectation is that you're helping them to get better, but with dementia, you don't have that option. So respite care for the families is also a very large part of what we offer. Yep.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'll just reiterate, you may have heard before, but we're over.
Yep. Understand totally.
Another story, yeah.
You've got a hard job.
But so do you, actually. But thank you very much for the work you're doing. It's great.
Okay.
I've been down to your facility.
Oh, excellent.
It's superb. It's all very colourful. So
Yes.
paintwork goes on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Can I just ask by a show of hands, how many of you have heard of Home for All? Oh, so good. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
We're well informed.
Okay.
Cheers.
I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Amanda. Look at this, we're well ahead of time. Famous for it. The
Must be efficient today.
in my reality, that's fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, on behalf of Girl Guides.
Yes.
Yep.
Capity Guides. Can I get you to talk about
Oh right. Okay. Oh yes. Yep. And by the way, when I went to visit the dementia unit, that wasn't as a client. Yet. Yet. 102, I'll be still using my microwave thinking of your grandma.
Good morning, team. Yeah, I'll just talk while you're doing that. So while everyone's getting settled, I'm Amanda, cultural from Capity Guides, but also a staff member here at Council. So just putting that out right up the front because I recognise many of the faces around the table. I've been a guide leader in Capity for more than 12 years and have a real passion for what we do, helping girls and young women become better versions of themselves. We've got approximately 25 girls in our unit currently. Thank you, Maria, that looks perfect. And at times our numbers go up to around 30 in the last 12 years. We never really get below about 20 in our unit because our unit just keeps growing, which is really amazing. As you'll see in our photo there, there's some of our girls at camp recently, when Maria can grab it. And we've come to us today for $2,000 for us to get new camping tents because the gear we've got is all more than 12 to 15 years old in terms of our outdoor tents, and that's a fundamental part of our program, helping the girls learn outdoor skills. They learn to put up all their own tents, they learn to do gas cooking, they learn to take care of themselves and their environment, all that sort of thing. So it enables girls to face challenges in a safe environment and learn from their experiences to develop themselves personally. The gear that we hold at our guide hall in Te Kupe Road is actually the gear that's used by all the guides within the district. So it doesn't just belong to our Capity unit, it also, the Waikanae girls use it, the Ranger unit uses it, and various other teams around the district. It's been to a couple of jamborees now, so it's looking rather tired, and some of the tents are not getting as watertight as they should be. Yes, that'd be great, thank you. As you can see in that shot there, that those green and brown tents are the ones we primarily use, and they are just about at the end of their life expectancy. We've been doing a bit of fundraising over the years to help us get some new ones, but we don't really have enough to serve the whole group that we have. And also, if we had to take the Waikanae girls on camp with us because they don't have a qualified leader, then we also don't have enough capacity to be able to do that with them. We would like to do that so we can help train up their leaders to get their own qualifications to then take their group on camp. And basically what guiding offers, we have a lot of neurodivergent girls in our units, and what it offers them is the chance to be ordinary and to step outside their comfort zones in a safe environment. And recently I had one little girl who came to our unit and she's never really fitted in anywhere at school and that, and she went home and said to her mum, "Oh mum, I found my people," you know? And that's really what it's about, is giving them a place to find their people, but also to find out who they really are when they get in those more challenging outdoor situations. So I'll take any questions you've got.
I'm interested in the neurodivergent actually. So is that deliberate? Have you
No, it just seems to be the kind of girls that we attract, and particularly in Capity over the last 5 or so years, we've actually had a lot more neurodivergent girls joining our unit, to the point where we've actually started to pilot some of that national training around that, because we've had to find strategies and ways of helping those girls, but also helping them to be treated the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's been an increasing trend that we've seen in Capity lately.
Right. Okay, thanks for that. Any questions? No, there don't appear to be any. Thank you very much, Amanda. You've probably heard the mantra about the oversubscribed.
Yeah, I do know that, but we're always grateful for what we can have to help our girls.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. And we have Sam from the Paikokariki Housing Trust. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Tēnā katoa, ko Sam Buchanan tōku ingoa. I am here today representing the Paikakariki Housing Trust. Apologies from our co-chair who was supposed to be here today, but had a minor medical event yesterday, so couldn't make it. So I've just jumped in at the last moment, but briefly we have applied for $1,500 to support our ongoing work. We're a small community trust. We're a registered charitable trust formed in 2016 with the aim of increasing housing opportunities for low-income people in Paikakariki. Since we were formed, we've purchased one house which was then on-sold to the tenant when they were in position to do so. We basically brokered the purchase of a second house, which is now in Ngāti Toa hands, and we have carried out a lot of roles in terms of lobbying, educating people on housing issues, doing research and various things. At the moment, probably our main activity is actually property management, where we have 8 low-cost rentals that we manage on behalf of private owners, and we manage those at a lower than market cost in order to keep the rentals down. We are looking this year to continue the work we're doing. We have 2 part-time employees, of which I'm one, and another person who does administration. It's very much part-time, so I do 1 day a week, and the other person does less than that. But we could certainly use considerably more work, and there is considerable work put in by our trustees who work on a voluntary basis. Paikakariki has significant housing issues, and they are probably getting worse as time goes on. Compared with the national average, we have a much higher than average rate of owner-occupied homes, which is in some ways a very good thing, but that of course means there is very few rentals in Paikakariki. There are very few opportunities for low-income people. We're getting kind of squeezed at both ends of the age demographic. In the last census, we noticed there was a considerable drop in the number of under 15-year-olds in Paikakariki, which also, of course, coincides with a falling school roll. We also have no retirement villages, and very few options for anybody needed supporting living of any sort for elderly people. We are finding we have got an increasingly ageing population in Paikakariki, which has as with most problems, they're all entangled, and everything that goes on in our community suffers to some extent by the lack of housing. We are considered a very vibrant community, and in some ways that's kind of evident just in the physical makeup of the place, and Paikakariki is becoming quite a significant attraction for visitors in recent years especially, and we have a number of businesses that are largely reliant on visitors, but those businesses are also reliant on young people being in the village, both as workers and as entrepreneurs, and we will lose that vibrancy and some of that economic base if we are unable to offer cheaper housing, especially to young families. We lack ethnic diversity, surprisingly enough. We have a slightly higher than average Maori population by national standards, but we're extremely lacking in non-Pākehā immigrants, which is another source of vibrancy in the community, which I feel we will feel the lack of in future years. So what we are doing as a trust this year, apart from the continuing the ongoing opportunities, the ongoing work, and looking for opportunities, and if we can purchase further houses, which would be our ideal, which we're certainly not right now in a position to do so, but we are investigating any ways we might be able to do that. But 2 further projects, one of which is to advocate for and provide information for increased intensification, in particular putting secondary dwellings on existing sites, which are in considerable demand in Paikakariki, and also encouraging more shared houses. We actually have we are, again, from the census data, we underutilise existing housing. We have a lower rate of occupancy. We have an increasing number of empty housings, and the ones that are occupied have a smaller number of people in them than is the national average, which I think is probably mostly down to an ageing population. So we have underutilised housing. So we're looking at ways we can encourage people to utilise existing housing more to add secondary dwellings. And we're also excited by a proposed project from Ngāti Toa to create affordable, or at least subsidised housing within Paikakariki that we'll be very supportive of, and be basically trying to encourage further work by them, since they are much better resourced than a small community group is. So we're basically just asking for funding for you to continue that work and to try and increase our education and encouragement to expand low-cost housing opportunities within Paikakariki.
Great, thanks for that, Sam. In terms of the trust deed, are you constrained to only operate within Paikakariki?
We are focused on Paikakariki and particularly on supporting Ngāti Haumia, so that is in our trust document. That in terms of educational or providing assistance, I mean, things like providing information to homeowners about a secondary dwelling and how they can navigate that process of getting that built. I mean, that is information that would go much broader than Paikakariki.
Right.
I mean, if we saw opportunities, I don't think we would certainly investigate them. There's nothing to stop us operating on a wider basis, but we have our hands full at the moment.
Right.
And even such things as managing 8 properties is actually a considerable amount of work for a community group.
Yeah, so
even one that's able to afford some part-time staff.
Yeah, in terms of being able to add more work to your load, I've mentioned before about with the older person's housing in Kapiti, where if the premises that are in Paikakariki, whether or not the housing trust could take that. I think is there 2 or 4?
There's 4 at present. There's actually certainly room on that site for more
Right.
housing, and yes, we could certainly manage those properties if that was a possibility.
Right.
I think at the moment the desire in council is to have all
In the housing trust.
all of them under a single body. So, but that may change, and all options are always open ultimately.
And a final question for me, given that Paikakariki is, you're completely constrained, aren't you, in terms of land availability. So down at the very end of Tilly Road into encroaching into Kiwi Park, so is there any, have you guys been involved in any discussions with Greater Wellington about potential use of some of that land for housing?
We're involved in the Wainui Whenua project, which is basically looking at the land that will become surplus once the transmission gully construction is completed, and we certainly have an interest in if that land can be put into at least some form of subsidised housing or cheaper housing options. So there definitely are opportunities there.
Great.
Which we're following up. But they won't be in the next sort of year or two. It's probably 2 or 3 years down the track is our current timeline that we're looking at.
That's it for me. Anybody? Nobody else? Thanks, Sam. I just have to reiterate what we said to everybody. We are massively oversubscribed, so we have to we'll factor that in when it comes to deliberations. But thank you very much for coming in and the work you guys are doing. Oh, and Shelley's got a question.
One, sorry.
Yep.
Have you been to the community board, the Paikakariki Community Board for funding?
Yes, we got a community board grant, which we basically using as seed money to operate a fundraising event later in the year. So we work very closely with the community board. So yeah, they're great.
Great. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you coming in.
Kia ora. Thank you.
Cheers. Oh, I think we're 3 minutes ahead of time now. So it's just really kicking on. All right. Shelley.
Kia ora tātou.
Shelley from Hohepa Wellington.
Yes.
Yes, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I do have some beautiful photos on a PowerPoint if there's an option to share that, but
I
if
think
not,
there is.
I can. I did print them off. But
Do you have it on USB or?
I've just if there's a cord, otherwise.
We have to take it over here, though, is that right?
That is totally fine. There's nothing on here that's a concern.
It did not like the last
It didn't
laptop
like
though.
Oh, well.
the connection.
Yeah, the last it just exploded, so if that's okay,
Okay.
don't mind.
Well, we can't afford to replace it, so. Just while we're getting that set up, thank you very much for seeing me today. As I say, my name is Shelley Elliott. My role is Capability and Relationship Manager at Hohepa Wellington. So I wanted to start a little bit with just around what Hohepa is, and then a little bit about specifically what we've applied for. So Hohepa is a nationwide charitable organisation supporting individuals with intellectual disabilities. We are the Wellington Regional Branch, and we are based just up the road in Otahanga. So we actually purchased the land in 2013, but we've sort of slowly and steadily been increasing the number of people that we support. And on the screens there'll be some lovely photos of some of the guys that we support working in the gardens. So very briefly, Hohepa has a vision of every life fully lived. For the people that we support, that means we work with them, they come and live with us, and we support them for the rest of their life. We take into consideration their own personal likes, dislikes, what brings them joy, what might fill their days with purpose, and that's what we aim to deliver for them. On the site that we have currently, we have an already established vegetable garden and a native and a native plant nursery, which is really well used by the 23 people that we support currently. And what we have requested from the community grant application is some raised gardens. If you're not familiar with raised gardens, they are up about this sort of height. Currently, the vegetable garden that we have is a pretty standard large vegetable plot, but a lot of the people that we support have intellectual disabilities, but also physical challenges. And it's just not possible for them to be working in the garden at all or for any length of time. So these raised gardens, that will just repeat, so you can just let that go. These raised gardens open up the opportunity for some of the people that we support who currently can't work in our gardens to enjoy some of that work. It also means that because they're able to be positioned and moved, they can be positioned by some of the houses that we have on site for the people that we support who maybe don't enjoy that kind of social collaborative work as much as some of the others do. We can set them up in quieter spots where they can participate in that garden work and enjoy that in a low sensory way. I'm very happy to take questions. I feel like it's a pretty straightforward application. We want the 5 raised gardens, and we would be contributing $1,000 of our own, sponsoring the Shed project, which is another local disability service provider, to assemble those gardens for us, and then purchase some tools and plants and things to get us going. Happy to take any questions.
Great. It's a virtuous circle, isn't it? Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Hey, just one question. The produce that is produced
Yep.
in the gardens,
Yep.
what happens to that?
So currently, we're aiming to be more self-sufficient. Currently, we consume everything that's grown on site that is edible. And because we have 9 houses, 7 on site and 2 in the community, the produce that we're growing, we eat. As we look to expand, we'd be hoping to become completely self-sufficient in the ways that we can, and then also be able to share that more broadly with the community. The more garden space we have, the more opportunities that opens up. We've been connecting in with volunteer kapiti to try and get some additional people on site to help us support some of that work that needs to happen. And the thinking there is that we'd also be able to koha some of that back to any local organisations that might be requiring produce in that way. Yeah.
And no, it's 24/7 care.
24/7
On-site,
care. Everybody that we support has really high and complex needs. So, I mean, as an example, we have 23 people that we support, and we have about 60 support workers. So it's quite a high, sort of almost 3 to 1.
Yeah, fantastic work. Councillor Cooper.
Oh, it was just a comment. What amazing human beings you are.
What amazing
Yeah.
human beings these guys are. Yeah.
They all are. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Oh,
for the
thank you.
Amazing work. So
Thank
you've got my
you.
support.
Yeah.
I can say that. Can't really get that, too. Yeah, but yeah, thank you. Yes.
That appears to be it. I do have to. You may have heard the mantra.
We understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very
But,
much.
and thank you for the work you do.
Hopefully
It's brilliant.
Thanks.
Yeah, cool.
We've got a golf day on Thursday, and the weather looks terrible. So if you could cross your fingers for us.
Okay. Chris Joseph from Volunteer Kapiti. Welcome.
Didn't know our numbers in total, but we might just share a couple. Just some images of the crack
Thank you, Chris. If you have 3 minutes, and then we'll have some time for, if there's some time for questions. Yep, great. Thank you.
Kia ora te whare, ko te tuatahi, he te mihi ki a koutou, me tēnei huhui nei, o te rā, mina katoa, me ngā kaimahi, o ngā hapori o Kapiti, tēnei te mihi. O te rā, tēnei te mihi te ngā iwi, o te rohi nei, ngā te reikoa ki te tonga, te ateawa ki whakarongotai, ngā te toa rangatira. Tēnei te mihi. Ko Chris Joseph ahau, manager of Volunteer Kapiti. I think this is my first time doing this, so I'll try and be brief. Nā te rauru, nā taku rauru, ka ora te iwi. With your food basket, my food basket, the people will thrive. And today I'm here to talk about how this community grant will help us do just that. In particular, the values and benefit of celebrating our volunteers and volunteer organisations and those that support us. So if you don't know who we are, I assume most of you do, but if you don't know who we are, our core role is to support volunteers and place them in organisations to ensure that they can provide community benefit. Alongside those organisations, we also provide them capability and training to ensure that they are good employers for volunteers and make the transition as easy as possible for those that need it. They might be starting when they have never had volunteers before. We're a not-for-profit organisation, and we're based out of the Kapiti Impact Trust. Previously, we were at Te Newhenga prior to it being dismantled. So for us, without volunteers, many of our most trusted communities, services just wouldn't happen. We stand in the gap that local and central governments tend to miss through lots of reasons. So part of what we do is we ensure that we're celebrating our people and all of the work that they do for free. On the little diagrams, we've got 4 key moments in the year that we focus on, and we will be focused on micro events as well. But as you can see, those significant days, both nationally and internationally, because we are a global citizen, and we do have global people come here to share their wealth and skills. So why this will be supportive for that is it's a tough environment out there. We've had a reduction of 25% in our bigger grants, and it's mean we've had to be able to change the model on how we do our day-to-day stuff, which is this is part of our day-to-day mahi, because volunteers mean the world to us, and we ensure that we want to make sure that they got recognition in what we do with them. So we support currently 146 community organisations, which was over 470. We're on track to beat that number by about 50% at this point in time. We are 3 part-timers with 5 volunteer advisors plus 1 volunteer spotlight communicator. So we're a small but very mighty team. And so we want to grow this particular part more so. We're transitioning into a better part of how we do our social media approach as well, and this will be part of that delivery. Our service coordinator, Kathy, has been with us for almost 10 years, and the fund will actually support to maintain her role without us having to reduce her hours. Obviously, we've got lots of things we can do to try and adjust that. And part of that, there's lots of research that shows that public recognition of our volunteers can increase their value and also their health and mental well-being. And we have a great opportunity. I do say we have gold in our hills, and when I talk about gold, I talk about ko au. Au is the scientific periodic table for gold, and au in Māori is me, or you. So I think that we've got a lot of wealth in our hills in terms of the people, the skills that they want to do, but sometimes they don't know if they don't hear what's happening out in our community. So this is why this is important for us. It also helps us engage better with youth. And they're, to be honest, the generation coming forward, this is ingrained in them. But they also kore kōrero e kumara. So they don't like to boast how sweet e tōna reke of this, how sweet the kumara is. They just go out and do generally. Some don't. Some do like to post it, and that's also cool because we could be better at that as well. So this is, all interconnected on how we can support our the generational shift in volunteering, and also our managers, our leaders within the sector tend to do more hours than they're paid, sacrifice their health, and we're trying to utilize this as a mechanism to show you still need to stop and think about it and lift your head so we can help more in the future. I'll stop there. I think you get the gist of what we're trying to ask for, and we'll be really grateful for your support on that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, the time when grants are generally down, the need is generally up. So it's kind of pushing it. The traditionally volunteer capacity has been largely older people. So this is specifically designed to try and encourage more young people to come into it.
And we did have some support from some other smaller grants last year to check that through outreach. And what we've started to see is that the data is shifting to a younger. Now, not necessarily as young as we like, but it is basically a generational shift down. We're getting more people in that. We have increased our youth, and we're working more closely with the colleges to ensure that we are finding a sustainable pathway. And also, Volunteer Wellington have piloted something really successful last year that we want to mimic. But they cost time and resource, so we're just trying to find what that looks like. So.
But also a lot of people might not realise this, and maybe around this table they do, but the public might not. The fact that you are assisting 146 organisations is phenomenal, and you're looking to grow that.
Yeah, so that is growing. Hohepa, you still here? Is a new member of ours. Yeah. We've recently, I've been working more closely with our iwi partners in terms of how we might support them in key moments and events, and we've been fortunate enough to strengthen those relationships as of late, so we hope to build upon that. That will be a key driver for youth as well, and those that are in the margins. We're probably going to tap on 160 organisations this year. Wow. We won't turn them away because the need is great, but it does mean we have to put some restrictions in place in terms of how we might support them further.
Yep. And just finally, for me, yeah, volunteer capacity is absolutely vital to the well-being of our entire district. So, fantastic. Don't appear to be any questions or comments. So, thank you very much, Chris. You may have heard before, we are constrained in terms of oversubscription, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Champion, thank you for the work you're doing. It's great.
Tēnā koutou.
Kia ora.
Mihi.
Peter. Kia ora. Peter Ryan from Our Lady of Kapiti, the Vinnies.
St Vincent de Paul Society, yes.
Am I allowed to use Vinnies?
Pardon me?
Am I allowed to use Vinnies? Yeah, cool.
Okay, so we are coming back to you. Last year you helped us with a chest freezer for our food supply, but the horrible fact is that the need is growing, and we are blessed by having more food coming in from organisations such as Fish for Good and Kibosh. We are now supporting about 80 families. The numbers keep changing, as you would imagine. And where we are slightly different from, for example, the Community Food Bank, is that we stay alongside people for a longer time. Many of our companions, we call them, are solo mothers with families. Some of them have been abused. They are in a pretty bad situation. 3 food parcels is not going to cut it. They actually need ongoing help. We also have people with chronic health needs, including mental health needs. And again, there's an ongoing need there. The chest freezer you helped us with last year is great, but a couple of our members can't actually get to the bottom of it. They are too short. And so we have a need for a vertical freezer. We have added in a couple of second-hand ones for our fish to try and keep that separate. But for food hygiene, for ensuring that we can accept donations from Kibosh and from Fish for Good, we actually need to have safe storage facilities for those. Just to give you an idea about our organisation, we have 33 members. Our average age is in the mid-70s, just listening to Volunteer Kapiti, the same sort of issues that we have, and we want to ensure that we don't have any issues of people falling into freezers or anything similar to that. So that is why we're coming back cap in hand again and saying, through having some assistance in purchasing a vertical freezer, we can look after our volunteers, we can look after our companions, and we cannot turn away fish that in particular, but other items that are donated to us and need safe storage. I think that's enough for me to say. I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. I did mention at the outset we're oversubscribed.
Yes, I understand
but
that.
if you weren't able to get the full grant, would that compromise their ability to get it?
Look, we'll be grateful for any help that we can get, and we realise that we are in a time of great constraint. So any help you can give us, we're certainly not going to say, no, go away.
But again, I'll just say it. Thank you for the work that you're doing. It's superb.
Thank you very much.
It's been really good.
Yeah.
No, that does. Oh,
okay.
Yep, just a thumbs up generally, I think is what
Yeah,
you're getting.
okay. Thank you
But
all.
thank you very much,
for
Peter.
your time and your service.
Cheers. Alejandro? Kia ora, Alejandro. You're from Kids Need Dads?
Yes, that's correct.
Welcome.
I'm just gonna give you a little bit of this books for
Thank you.
guys to have a sample, because mainly our application is related to that. So kia ora everyone, thanks for having me here. I am Alejandro from Kids Needs Dads. So we are a charity organization who has been around for nearly 25 years. We are active around Kapiti, Great Wellington, Levine, Palmerston North, all this area. but also nationally. So we got another branch in Christchurch, Auckland, Tauranga. The reason I want to try to be concise on this, the reason that we're making this application is, as you can see, we got this book, which is the Blocks book. We provide support to dads, not only to dads, to moms as well, but mainly to dads. Why to dads? Because we have noticed that it's a great support for moms when there is a breakout in the relationship, or when there is a problem in litigation in the family court. So moms have very lot of resources and support from many entities, but when it goes to dads, it's very limited. And most of those dads, they feel like, I need to be tough, or I need to be, but at the end of the day, we just another human. And I'm proud to say that I received the support of Kids Needs Dads initially. When I have the breakout, I contact them, I start going to their meetings, then I start working as a volunteer. I am still working as a volunteer, but now I get paid 10 hours a week, and the support is great. So we do a variety of ways to support. So we do corresponding courses, we do discovering fatherhood correspondent course, and we do also anger management course, which, as I said, when you just are going through that dark moment of separation, is a very difficult time. And mostly, as I said, moms have great support, but dad don't. So if we don't take care of that people that are going into difficult time in that specific moment, then we somehow aggravate the situation, or it might aggravate the situation, because some of those dads hide themselves into alcohol, some others might turn into aggressive, some others don't understand the court system, and then it's like, I don't understand, excuse my language, but all this is bullshit, and I want to have my kid, and then do silly things or say silly things, and that escalate things, because then the next thing is a protection order, and then create even a further gap between the son and the dad. We strongly believe that family is the nucleus of the society, so that's what we're working on this. We strongly believe that we need to make an update to this Blocks book, which provides great support, information, and coverage for all those dads that are somehow going through that moment. It's time to update it. It's quite old. New legislation has been passed as well. And also we want to give them somehow as a first-hand resource of what to do when this happens. When that moment when you just break out, you don't know what to do, you don't know who to reach. We are here for them, and as I said, I'm just an example of that. I thank Kids Needs That for all the help that they gave me. Now I have shared care of my son, 50-50, relationship with mom. I'm not gonna say it's great, but at least now we communicate, and that's what we're aiming to do with this material, and with your support, if we get any from you guys.
Thank you, Alejandro. Appreciate that. A couple of questions so how many copies of the book are you planning on printing?
We are trying to have at least 3,000 copies.
Okay.
We're trying to distribute this in the libraries and doctors and in the courts as well. And in saying that, also in counselors' office and all these things. As I said, this material that we have somehow is good. It still is a good resource, but we have run out of this material. We got limited of those, and that's the plan that we're having for this year, to have at least 3,000 copies.
And I also wondered, is there any plan to have this as an online resource?
Yes, there is also we have a little bit of this material online. Um, However, we still need to make updates, even if it's online, with the graphic designer and the people that does the editing and put all the information together. We still need to complete those resources. My understanding from the committee is that we have some funds for that purpose, but we are short on funds, let's say.
Okay. And just finally from me, because we are obviously Kapiti focused,
Yes.
so do you have any data around Kapiti about
Yes,
that sort of?
yes. So myself and Alan Harvey, we operate here in Ramati Beach, and we cover Otaki, Levin, Palmerston, not even if it's not now Kapiti, Porirua, Wellington, and we have. I can open power, but in our weekly meetings, we have at least 6 people, let's say new people. So I can tell you that easily we have over 200 DATs a year. And yeah, that's I'm giving you a briefly data, but if you want more specific, I can provide it from the data that we have in our system.
Yeah. No, that's great. I really appreciate it. Shelley?
Oh, I just wanted to comment. I think it's great what you do because, in actual fact, the kids are better off if a relationship and people can be supported both ways. So, yeah, that's great.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you allow me one more minute, I know that we probably have gone past the time, but we not only support the people that have gone through the breakage. Last week, we have parents that they just having a moment, they having that difficulty in the relationship. So we prevent that, I will say so. Because these dads came to me and they said, well, we don't know, I'm scared, we're probably going to break out, whatever. And I say, look, it's normal. She's just going through a birth. She has hormones all over the show. You need to understand this. Why don't you take this course, which is Discovering Fatherhood, which is a corresponding course. The guy engaged in the course, the guy is following the meetings, and now, yesterday he came to me and said, hey, thank you. I understood something that before he couldn't, because for us as a man, it's very difficult to understand what's going on through the hormones of a woman. We don't operate the same way. But thanks to all those resources, we're able to guide those dads and prevent as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Alejandro. I will just say, because I have to, we are well oversubscribed in terms of funds, but thank you very much for coming in, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you very much for your
Cheers.
time and your attention, and we will appreciate any funds that you can help us with.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a nice
Cheers.
day.
Thank you. Energize Otaki. Barb, welcome.
Kia ora koutou.
Got it?
Right, Energize Otaki. I'll just have a seat. So I think most of you know all of our projects. We have quite a few projects running: bike space, repair cafes, carbon forest, and of course our solar farm going. This focus is on Warm Up Otaki, what we call Warm Up Otaki, but it goes just a little bit wider, and particularly on Curtin Bank. So Warm Up Otaki's been running now for, I think we're in our 5th year this year. We have brought the our Curtin Bank operation in it. We've always had Curtin Bank going, but we've had it running alongside Sustainability Trust, which we will still do. We don't get funding from Sustainability Trust for what we do, but we do take in donated curtains, and we do often put them down to Sustainability Trust and have a volunteer who brings them back up for us. What we've actually found, so there's 2 items that I've really focused on here. One is about Curtin Bank itself. What we've found is that
if we can do the curtains in Otaki, we keep some. We keep some up in the office and various people's places. We find that it's got a couple of benefits. One is we can be quite responsive. Sustainability Trust ended up with a huge backlog last year with not enough sewers. So we do have a couple of sewers that we have working. So the other thing is people can't fit them, they can't measure them. It gives us a way of going into the home as well and starting the other conversation about the whole energy use. There's some interesting research that came out last year that talked about, and we got to talk to a whole lot of other providers working in an energy hardship space, which actually said how hard it was to go into the home. We've done a couple of tactics around that. We run little, we call them mini huis, but we get a group of like people together, like kaumātua at Nahapu. We get them together in a group, and we can talk about the various things they can do. Now, curtains are an easy intervention for hardship. I mean, a lot of people know this, but I mean, I have single glazed windows in our house. We have some that we've replaced, but the difference between a lined curtain, not a plastic backed one, is significant. You know, they talk about increasing the temperature in the room 2 to 3 degrees. Now, this actually makes a difference to how much people use their house as well, because we're very careful not to talk about reducing power bills, because often the homes we're going in, they're just not heating the house is what's happening, or heating one room. So you won't necessarily change a power bill, but you will change the use of the house. Now, my kits, this is not one of the bottles. I couldn't find one of the bottles, but this is the sort of thing that we do. We take sort of vinegar and water anti-mould. We have LED light bulbs. We have craft stock. We hot water bottle. We put the things in a bucket. There's a cleaning cloth and face mask. That's dealing with black mould, basically. A brush, some kind of brush. And the bucket. And the other thing that we like to do is provide the indoor thermometer. I think they're called hydrometers or something. But they've got humidity. And then we can start talking about a sort of warmth or just dampness in the home, and the sort of things that people can do that don't cost any money to change that. And that's one of the best things, is about that habit changing. So all focused around going into the home and starting that conversation, really. That's a squeegee for the windows, collecting squeegee.
Thanks.
What else with it?
Thanks, Barb. I just a question. It's fantastic work that you do. I just wonder, is there in any way that this is kind of subsidising landlords under healthy homes, what they're required to have? So is this meeting a gap that landlords aren't filling, or is this a different set of homes?
Well, often we work at sort of talking with homeowners for starters,
Yep.
but we do go into rentals. What we do in a rental is slightly different. If it's a curtain or this sort of kit, they can walk out with us. But the other side of it is that home is going to be a home for more than the whānau that are in it at the moment. So even if they choose to leave the curtains, that might affect how many other families, really. So yeah, we talk pretty carefully in the rental situation. We have developed a little sheet so somebody can have the information themselves if they want to approach the landlord, but we're really aware of the differing rental situations, particularly with, there are situations that aren't under the Healthy Homes work. Yeah, so, and we're actually not acting as an advocate for the tenant or for the landlord. Sometimes we've had a landlord actually ask us to do a home assessment. That tends to be, we bill them, obviously. Yeah. So, but that, that can be a good thing too. That might trigger that. So, yeah.
Great. Shelley?
Oh, I just want to say you do an amazing job. Very proud of you from Otaki.
Thanks. And of course,
Put that in there
we've
from
had a
Otaki.
lot of Matt, who's our builder and so on. We're potentially going to lose Matt, and we have somebody else starting up. But yeah, we've been really lucky with that, developing that relationship with Te Puna Oranga and Ngā Hapu, but also other sort of referrals. A lot of our work comes through referral, and we tend to go out and just keep that going, really. That's a job of our home advisor as well.
Great. Oh, thank you very much, Barb. As I've said to others who have come in, we are vastly oversubscribed in terms of the amount wanting and in terms of the amount available. But yeah, that appears to be it. So thank you very much, and thank you for the work that you do.
It's a pleasure.
Cheers.
It is actually.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Just pick up my kit. No steak knives, you'll notice. Actually, people really like getting the bucket. This is one of my buckets.
The bucket's cool.
But it's a really good idea. So. Exactly. The water and
White wine vinegar.
Yeah. I think we go for white vinegar.
Well, it sounds like a fascinating
I'm not
fun
going to-
conversation to be
I've
had.
been very careful not to talk about the recipe in case I've got it wrong. So, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. So we will adjourn now for a lunch break, and we'll reconvene at 12:45 with Kotuku Flower Farm.